Hey guys, so I guess this is probably what, part 8 in my videos on my cube collection. Yeah, I believe this is part 8. So this one is about shape modifications of puzzles. So we'll start with the void cube. Now this, I don't know if this really counts as a shape modification, but that's where I'm putting it. It's like a normal 3x3, but there is no internal core. It is completely hollow. That is my finger going through the puzzle. It's hollow, yeah. Other than that, it functions just like a normal 3x3, but because there's no centers, you can get, excuse me, you can get some weird parity cases that you don't encounter on a normal 3x3. So you have to figure those out. But it's a lot of fun to solve. The quality, this is a Landland brand one. It's very smooth turning and very well put together, but you cannot cut corners at all. Because of the mechanism that this uses to keep all the layers in line, the corner cutting is impossible. Even a ½ millimeter really is just about all it can handle. You've got to line everything up. So that means you can't really speed solve this or do it fast. But it's a lot of fun, and it's definitely interesting to see people's reactions to this. Plus, it's just a weird puzzle to solve. Like, it does not look like it should stay together like it does. But it's really fun to solve. It's really fun to see people's reactions, and it's definitely a neat puzzle to have. Next up, we're going to be talking about the Rubik's Mirror Blocks cube. Now this operates like a normal 3x3, but instead of having different colors on each side, all the sides are reflective, but it's cut in different shapes. So it's cut such that no slice is as thick as any other slice. So ignoring the medium, the middle slice is always going to be the same thickness as a normal Rubik's cube. That's just how it works. But the sides never are, and they're all going to be different sizes. Nothing else is this size, 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 nothing else is that size, and nothing else is that size. So because of that, you solve it by shape. So you put the pieces in based on their shape, but because of the different size shapes, it shape shifts, which is a lot of fun. I really like shape-shifting puzzles a lot. And this also gets a lot of people's attention. Plus, the neat thing about this one is you can solve it completely blind in the dark. Because of the different shapes, you can feel it. You don't have to look at it. This is a Rubik's brand puzzle. The quality is pretty good. The turning is pretty smooth. It feels pretty well put together. You're not going to be speed solving it. It can't really cut corners at all, but I can't imagine you'd ever be solving it fast enough to really be able to cut corners because you've got to think so much about it. But it's a reasonably high quality cube for what it is, and it's definitely not going to disappoint you at all. It turns smoothly, it turns well, and it doesn't really lock up. So this is a lot of fun. Okay, here's another shape mod of a 3x3. This is the Fisher cube, named after Tony Fisher, who invented it. Now if you look at it from the top, it's like a normal 3x3, it just turns sideways. So because of that, these are really the edges, instead of these being the edges. So other than that, it solves like a normal 3x3. However, you can get some weird parity because you cannot tell if the middle layer edges are faced right. This could be flipped upside down and you wouldn't know. So you can encounter some weird parity, and I have a tutorial on that on my channel if you want to watch it. But this is also shape shifting like most shape modifications of a 3x3. So that's pretty neat. All in all, this is a really fun puzzle to solve. I know this is a knockoff. This is the YJ version, so it has that light, airy, fluffy feel that YJ puzzles have. It's very smooth. The original, I believe, is the Mefferts version. I have not tried that, but I've heard really good things about it. But this is a fun little shape-shifting 3x3. It looks really neat when it's all scrambled, and it is a nice challenge to solve because it's the first one so far that you've really got to learn something new to solve. You've got to be able to handle that parity. Well, this one you have to handle parity too, but so this one you do as well. So next, we'll talk about the Axis cube. Now this is also a YJ puzzle. I don't know who the original was made by, but this is a shape mod of a 3x3. It's weird though. If you look at it right on this edge, that is the centerpiece. So these pieces that are on the faces of the cube are really the corners, or I'm sorry. This piece, this piece, this piece, and this piece are all edges. This piece, this piece, this piece, and this piece are all corners. So it sometimes edges are edges. Like this is an edge piece, but so is this. So it's really weird to solve, and it can get really messed up when you start scrambling it because it's a very sharp, pointy puzzle, so pieces start going off in all directions. One thing is, be very careful. Sometimes pieces like these little corners here get really sharp. And you can actually cut yourself on that edge piece. I've done it before. So just be careful if you get one of these puzzles. They can get really sharp. But they're a lot of fun. This one is it's not extremely hard, but it's a more difficult shape mod to solve because you have to change how you think about it. You've got to figure out, well, I don't know if this is facing the right way or if it's in the right orientation or whatever. So it's very conceptual. You really have to think about it. I don't think I have a tutorial on this one yet. I plan to, but it's going to be a little more complicated than the other two, so it might be a little while. But this one's a lot of fun. This one's also really fun to see people's reactions because it gets so messed up when you scramble it. I'm going to put it into the checkerboard pattern here for you guys so that you can see what a big ball of spiky complication it turns into. Now this is, again, the YJ version. It's very light, very airy, very easy turning. I believe it is called the YJ Fluctuation Angle Puzzle Cube by them, but it is just an axis cube. That's just their name for it. So this is a really fun one. If you're going to get shape mods of 3x3s that solve differently, I would recommend getting the Fisher Cube and the Mirror Blocks Cube first, because they will get you used to looking at and solving a shape-shifting 3x3, and this one will get you used to working around the parity, but this one only has one case of parity, and it's not very hard. This one, I believe, this one does not get parity, but this one is it's much more challenging to think about how to go about solving this one than the Fisher Cube is. So I would get this one first, and then this one. Next is the Barrel Cube. This is a Maru Barrel Cube. The neat thing about this one is it has more than just 6 colors. It has the top and the bottom color, and it has the normal 4 edge colors of blue and green and orange and red, but it also has these 4 corner colors: black, silver, lime green, and pink. Now, because of that, these edge columns can go anywhere. This pink does not have to be between the green and the orange. I could put this pink over here between the blue and the red if I wanted to. Those can go anywhere, and because of that, there's a couple different parity problems this one can get. The first is, like on the Fisher Cube, this one, the middle layer edges can be flipped upside down, so that can cause parity. Secondly, I could have this black one and this gray one switched. Now, even though you can't tell where they're supposed to go and you can put them anywhere, they still have to be in a certain relation to each other, but you have no way of knowing that until you get this parity. So I do have a tutorial of how to solve this on my channel. It's not a complicated puzzle to solve, but if you're new to shape-shifting 3x3s and don't know how to handle that kind of parity, please watch the video. It'll explain it. But this is a very high-quality puzzle. Maru Cube seemed to be pretty good. It's just very stable, very well held together. It does not feel like it's going to break. It doesn't really pop on me either. It is kind of loud and clicky, but I kind of like that. But all in all, this is a really fun puzzle, and this is a great addition to a collection of 3x3 shape mods. Next, I have the QJ UFO Octahedron puzzle. Now, this one's weird. It is an 8-sided puzzle, but it is really just a shape mod of a 3x3. If you look at the top layer, this centerpiece is one piece. That's the center. These right here are edges. These little triangular ones are corners. And then these out here, don't look at those. Those are actually part of the next side. Center, edges, and corners. These triangle ones. And ignore these. So, you do solve it like a normal 3x3. I do have a video on my page of how to solve this. It is really fun to solve. It's a neat 3x3. This one also gets very sharp and very pointy. But it is shape-shifting, as you can see. So it's such an interesting puzzle. It's so unique that it's really fun to solve. This one you can get some parity errors though, with these not being in the right place or in the right orientation. So I do walk through that on my tutorial to show you how to solve that. It's very similar to solving it on this one. Again, I should also mention that on a lot of shape-shifting shape mods of 3x3s, it solves like a super cube in that the orientation of the center square matters. That's the case on these, not the top and bottom centers, but these centers on the Fisher cube, all of the centers on the YJ or the Axis cube, and all of the centers on the UFO cube. So just to keep that in mind. But this is a pretty high quality puzzle. It cannot cut corners at all, but it's pretty smooth and pretty well constructed, and I definitely recommend it. It's pretty decent quality. It's a QJ one. I think it was like $4, so it's really cheap. Next, I don't know if this really counts as a shape mod, but that's where I'm putting it. It is my Siamese 3x3s. Now, I built these, and I rather than having them share a 1x2x3 section by removing a layer from each of these cubes and gluing it together, I decided I only wanted them to share that one section, so I had to make the 3 pieces that go in the center. But it is fully functional. It goes together. Now I've got to get it back out of that. There we go. But this is a lot of fun. It is a different challenge. You have to learn how to solve it because you can't solve it like 2 3x3 stuck together because you can't do like that turn. But it's a lot of fun, and it's also a really great stepping stone into modding your own puzzles and building your own pieces and stuff because it's really easy. This design is not very hard. If I make another one, I'll probably post a video on how I did this because even though other people have done it, I had to design this myself. I didn't look it up. And I feel like my design is pretty good. The workmanship on this one is not very high quality, but that's because I slapped it together in about half an hour with not the right tools. But if I do it again with other cubes, I will do it more precisely and with more quality standards, and I will post a video on my method and my design for how to build this. But these are just 2 QJ Mini 3x3s. But it's really not hard. This is a great step into modding your own puzzles, and it's so much fun to solve. It's so unique and so much fun. I really like Siamese cubes a lot. And I do want to make one where they do share a 1x2x3 section at some point. I just haven't yet. But I wanted to make this one because it was harder to do. I had to design it myself, and you get the most functionality out of the remaining cubes. On this one, I can turn those 2 layers each, and I can turn these 2 layers. On the other way, I might be able to turn these 2 layers, but only this 1 layer because these would be bound. So I like this design a lot better. I do want to make the other one though soon. Last but not least, I have the Lanlan 4-axis octahedron, I believe is what this is called. Now this is a shape mod of a 4x4, but it operates totally differently. As you can, if you look at it, these are the center 4 pieces. These are all edge pieces here, and these little tiny triangles are corners. But that's where the similarities end. As you can see, there's no true color scheme for this, because any 2-layer turn will move the colors around, but will not mess anything else up. It will not break up any color blocks. So there's no real color scheme. So this is extremely hard to solve because you have to build a color scheme and then remember it the whole time and try and solve it, keeping in mind what's solved and what's not. Crazy Bad Cuber has an awesome video on how to solve this. I highly recommend it. I did figure this out myself. I did get it solved once, but his tutorial is much more clear and much more succinct and much more easy to follow. So I'm not even going to talk about my method. I have since watched his, and I use his method now. His is much better, but I did figure it out on my own. But yeah, so this is a lot of fun, but this is one of those puzzles that a lot of people tend to get, and then it just lays around all the time because they underestimate how hard it is to solve and never solve it. So I do recommend this. It's a lot of fun, and it's so rewarding when you solve it, but make sure you know what you're getting into. It's a very, very challenging puzzle. This is the Lanlan brand. It's very high quality like most Lanlan puzzles. It's very, very stable. There's no play. The pieces are held together very well, but it's very smooth and very light and very easy to turn, especially the 2-layer turns. There's no real corner cutting, but that's okay. You're not going to be solving this fast enough for that to be a problem. But yeah, so those are the shape mods of puzzles I have. If you guys have any questions about these, please let me know. If you want to learn how to solve this one, Crazy Bad Cuber has a good tutorial. Super Antonio Vivaldi has a good tutorial on this. I have good tutorials on these 3, and we'll soon add one for the Axis Cube and one for this one. And for this one, you just need to know a couple algorithms that from, like, I use algorithms from a corners first method, but this is pretty easy to figure out how to solve if you just Google search it. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching. Next up is going to be, I believe, the last part of this collection of videos, and it's just on random puzzles. So I'll see you then.